Good day everyone! In this video, we'll be talking about Constructivism Learning Theory. But before we go into deeper with that discussion, let's talk about what is Constructivism Theory. So Constructivism Theory is a theory in education that recognizes the learners construct new knowledge and understanding, integrating with what they already know, and that this includes knowledge prior to entering school. So now that we are done talking about what is Constructivism Learning Theory, let's move to those persons who shared their point of view about this theory. And the first person is no other than John Dewey. The Dewey's theory states that constructivism can build an individual and social knowledge, and it is then the result of this study. Dewey in Gia 2010 claims that knowledge is uncertain. In Dewey's theory, he points out that the learners are the ones who were responsible or to be in control of their own acquisition of knowledge, and that the instructors only serves as the facilitator. Learners were given the chance to share their side or opinion about a specific topic, and then the instructor will be the one who will make a way in order to make their discussion smooth and easier to understand. As they go along with their discussion, everyone will be given the chance to speak up. That is why their social knowledge or interaction with other people will be enhanced, and by sharing their different ideas, new knowledge will be gathered, and that it will be compiled that will serve as their new background of that specific topic or area. John Dewey also claimed that knowledge is uncertain. Why? Our knowledge is uncertain because as we interact with different people in our lives, the knowledge that we know can be changed depending on the people that surrounds us or the people whom we interact with. Dewey's theory is all about getting or gaining new knowledge by interacting with different people, and that the knowledge that we know may change depending on whom we are with or whom we interact with. Next to John Dewey is Piaget. Piaget theory states that through process of accommodation and assimilation, individuals construct new knowledge from their experiences. Example: teachers must act as a facilitator, and instead of starting the lesson with a discussion, teachers should start by asking the learners about the things that they know in a specific area. Learners were tasked to come up with an answer or conclusion with their own, instead of telling them directly the things that they should learn or know. Asking them questions about the discussion is one way to make them reflect in order for them to create their own conclusion based on their experiences. The last person is Montessori. Montessori approach is based on the belief that children simply absorb knowledge if provided a kind of environment and material to do so. However, the constructivist approach views learning as the process each child building personal knowledge based through interaction with the environment. Montessori claims that learners learn by simply absorbing the knowledge that was provided for them. Like for example in a discussion, learners will learn through listening or by the things that the instructor is saying, and after that, he'll no longer look for other materials to use to add in his knowledge. They will just simply rely on the things that were given to them. On the other hand, constructivist approach views learning as one of the processes that a child takes to gain or create knowledge depending on their environment. So those were the persons who shared their point of view about constructivism learning theory. And now, let's move on to explaining the nature of the learner in social constructivism or social constructivist perspective. Social constructivist perspective points out that each learner is different and unique in their own way. They have their own method of learning and their way of understanding that makes them different with each other. Learners are complex and that they have their own different ways and how to learn.
In social constructivism, Harkness' discussion method the teacher's responsibility is limited to observing the students' interaction with one another. Students will be the one who keep the discussion moving forward, even though the teachers are the one who provides the main topic. The students' duty is to be placed in one group to discuss one topic, and they must communicate and converse with one another in order to comprehend the matter. According to the social constructivist approach, instructors have to adapt to the role of facilitators and not teachers. This is according to Bowersfield 1995. Whereas a teacher gives a didactic lecture that covers the subject matter, a facilitator helps the learner to get to his or her own understanding of the content. In the former scenario, the learner plays a passive role, and in the latter scenario, the learner plays an active role in the learning process. The emphasis thus turns away from the instructor and the content, towards the learner. Gomaron, Secada, and Marit 1998. This dramatic change of role implies that the facilitator needs to display a total different set of skills than a teacher. This is according to Brownstein 2001.
And now, let's go to the constructivist classroom activities, wherein the first one is the reciprocal teaching or learning. It allows pair of students to teach each other. Examples of this are the brainstorming and debate. These allow students to exchange ideas and share it to others, and by doing it, they can all learn new things. The second one is the inquiry-based learning, or the IBL. It is a learning process that engages students by making real-world connections through exploration and high-level questioning. It is an approach to learning that encourages students to engage in problem-solving and experiential learning. Examples of this are project sharing and information retrieving. Third one is the problem-based learning. The idea of PBL is similar to IBL. Learners acquire knowledge by devising a solution to a problem. PBL differs from IBL in that PBL activities provide students with real-world problems that require students to work together to devise a solution. As the group works through the challenging real-world problem, learners acquire communication and collaboration skills in addition to knowledge. Examples of this are working in teams and managing projects and holding leadership roles. The last one is the cooperative learning, wherein students work together in small groups to maximize their own and each other's learning. Cooperative learning differs from typical group work in that it requires interdependence among group members to solve a problem or complete an assignment. Examples of this are jigsaw and tea party.
First on the list in the social constructivist learning approaches is the reciprocal teaching. It is a type of instructional activity in which the teacher and students engage in a dialogue about this next segment in order to construct the meaning of the next text. Reciprocal teaching is a reading technique that believes to improve students' reading comprehension. The example of this reciprocal teaching approach is when the teacher might read an excerpt aloud, recall the steps, and demonstrate how to use or summarize one day, clarifying the next, and etc. And finally, all at once. Second on the list in the social constructivist learning approach is the cooperative teaching. It is the division of labor among educators to plan, organize, instruct, and assess the same group of students, usually in the same classroom, and often with a strong emphasis on those teaching as a team complementing one another's specific skills or another's strengths. Like for example, a jigsaw game. So, a jigsaw game is a popular cooperative learning activity used by the teachers in which each student is required to research one section of the materials and teach them or teach it to the rest of the group. Next on the list is the situated learning approach, which claims that the students are more likely to learn when they are actively participating in the learning experience. For example, cooperative internship that allows the students to be immersed in the workplace or workplace. Next, field trip in which the students can experience the work environment. Next, laboratory settings where students actively participating in the activities. Next, the physical education and musical practices, which offers an identical scenario to real-life situation or events such as sports training and concert. And last on the list is the anchor instruction. It is a technology-centered learning approach that adheres to the social constructionism diagram. It is a type of situated learning that emphasizes problem solving within the integrated learning context that can be examined from the various angles. Like for example, a video-based format, narrative with realistic problem, generative format, like for example, the story ends and the students must generate the problem to be solved, and next, embedding the data design, and lastly, link across the curriculum.
Explain the 5 principles of constructivism. First is, teachers seek and value students' point of view. Unlike traditional teaching where students are expected to provide the one right answer the teacher is looking for, in a constructivist classroom, students are encouraged to elaborate on their ideas and use evidence to bolster their opinions. Through supportive questioning, teachers can get students to communicate what they are thinking and why. The second principle of constructivism is, classroom activities challenge students' assumption. Through constructivism, students are encouraged to explore an aspect of something that they haven't tried or thought about before. Whether it's a new product such as writing a screenplay instead of an essay or a new point of view. Constructivist teaching is all about challenging and broadening students' views. The third principle of constructivism is, teachers pose problems of relevance. Constructivism is about exploring complex and real-world problems that allow students to engage with the material. Tying learning to ideas or problems that relate to the students' lives and interests can help bolster their motivation to learn and deepen their understanding about the material. The fourth principle of constructivism is, teachers build lessons around big ideas. There are certain essential concepts that students need to learn, such as understanding cause and effect, critically analyzing documents, or inquiry-based exploration. Lessons in constructivist classrooms are built to encourage mastery of this essential concept of ideas. The fifth and last principles of constructivism is, teacher assess learning in the context of daily teaching. Traditionally, teacher gives information for a certain amount of time and then hand out a test to see if the students learned the content. In a constructivist teaching, assessment is about spending time every day focusing on what still needs to happen for students' success. Assessments are often authentic and in the moment, such as discussion, questions, or collaborative projects.